Hello, everyone. Welcome to another time of learning. It's been a wonderful weekend for me, and it's been a great time. So, I want us to start up the way we usually do. If you can hear me, I want you to please comment that I can hear you so I know that at least somebody can hear me. If you can hear me, please do let me know that you can hear me. Very, very important. If you can hear me, and we'll also start by introduction. So I want you to share your name and, of course, where you are watching me from. This is also very important. Fantastic. Faith can hear me. Okay, so let's go. Fantastic. So it's been a long day. It's been a long day for me, but thank God I'm here now. So if you're joining me, as our manner is, please let me know your name and where you are watching me from. So we've got Oluwafemi from Lagos. Oluwafemi from Lagos. Fantastic. Oluwafemi is watching me from Lagos. That's very good. Okay. We've got more people joining me. Barrister Isa Haruna is also here, all the way from Castena. Fantastic. Good to see you. Good to know that you're here. Faith Igbinobaro is here, all the way from Port Harcourt. And my good friend Tehila is also here. Mrs. Eshiet is here. Toris Seju, I hope I got that right, is here from Warri. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining. And I want to appreciate everyone who takes time out to always join this particular webinar every Sunday. Every Sunday. I want to appreciate you. It's because of you that I am always showing up. It is because of you, because of course, if you're not here, I will not show up, and the people will not, I'll just be speaking to myself. But the fact that you are always here is a source of encouragement to me. So if you are joining, please share your name and where you are joining from. It's very good that we know those that are joining us and where they are joining us from. So in the next 1 minute, we will kick off. In the next 1 minute, we will kick off. I'm happy to be here. Last weekend, we couldn't hold the webinar because I went for a conference, a 3-day conference, and I was one of the guest speakers. So it was very stressful driving all the way to London, spending 3 days driving around London, which is a very stressful city, and coming back, it was quite stressful for us. So I said there is no need for us to actually hold a webinar, and I'll be looking all stressed out, You'll be like, stress manager, just go and rest, you're feeling stressed out. So I'm happy that every one of us are here. Today, we're going to be discussing something that is very important. Please, if you know somebody that needs to hear this, all you need to do is to copy the YouTube link that you are using to watch it and just share with them, or copy the whole post and just share with them. It is very important that at least you help out your friend. It's very important that you help out someone who is listening. You don't know if just sharing that message or just sharing that link to them is what is going to save their marriages. A lot of people are going through a lot in their marriage, but they are not sharing it, you know, they are not telling people. So that singular act of copying the link and sharing with someone can change the person's life, can save the person's marriage. And you know, for life, this person will be grateful to you that at least you remembered me, and that link you shared to me is what saved my marriage. Somebody sent me a message yesterday. There was a gift I gave 2 years ago. I've even forgotten about it. So because I like sharing things to participants of the basic stress management certificate course, so I sent out a meal plan 2 years ago, and this person used the meal plan and applied the things I shared there, and she said she lost 13 kg. From 83 kg, she's now weighing about 70 kg. That is a drastic loss. And people in her estate are asking whether she took one of the weight loss medication they call Ozempic, but she didn't. And you know, it was absolutely free. She didn't pay a dime for that. But today she's a beneficiary of the content that I sent to her. So you don't know who might need this particular topic and will want to listen to it over and over again to apply it in their marriages. So please copy the link and share with your friends. You may be doing them a whole lot of good. So the topic today is something that is very, very interesting, something that would benefit you. Let me put it that way, in the sense that almost all of us are married. You know, the community is filled with people who are married in their 40s and some of them in their 50s. So almost everything I'm going to be sharing, most of us know about it, but it's good we remind ourselves. And some of the things that are happening in marriages, especially those that are being shared on social media, you will be wondering if it is actually worth it to be married. You'll be wondering if it's worth it to be married, because the world is filled with bad news. Social media is filled with a lot of bad news. People are sharing all manner of negativity as it relates to marriage, you know. But the good thing is that there are good marriages and people are enjoying their marriage. Conflict in marriage is one of the reasons why a lot of people divorce today. Simple conflict. Somebody shared a story about a little conflict, and that conflict was, I think it was a food. You know, the man wanted meat in the soup that the wife gave him, and the wife refused and like, there's no meat in the pot, it's just a little, please manage that one. And the man got offended and said he wasn't going to eat the food anymore. From that little thing, it degenerated into something else. Before you know what is happening, other people got involved. Just the singular act of meat in soup, you would think that is a simple thing that the man would have just eaten the food like that. As okay, maybe next time give me more meat, you know. But it degenerated into something else. There's one other family again that I met during a conference. So they stayed with us for some time. And during the period when they were staying with us, it was fight from one fight to the other. They were always fighting. When I mean always fighting, you know, I and my wife decided was now spending most of our time settling quarrel, you know, unnecessary quarrel, things that shouldn't be. And after many years, I learned that they've relocated to the UK. When my wife told me that, you know, so family, they are now in the UK, I just told myself that this marriage is not going to last. Because abroad, we test your marriage. I don't know of other countries, but you see UK, United Kingdom, it will test your marriage. So if your marriage was not strong coming from Nigeria, once you get into the UK, forget it. The marriage is gone. And true to what I said, after about 6 months, my wife called me to say that the man started fighting the wife again. The wife called the police. The police arrested the wife, the man, and made the man to write an undertaking that is not going to be seen 500 meters around the woman and the children. The woman wrote to the Home Office to say that I'm no longer married to this man. And the Home Office took the man's sponsorship and visa. So the man had to look for another sponsor so that he'll be able to remain in the UK. But as I'm talking to you now, the marriage is no more. So sometimes it's just simple misunderstanding that can lead to something very large and the marriage is gone. So today we'll be looking at how to resolve conflicts in marriage. And it's a very important topic, something that every one of us will benefit from, something that a lot of us will benefit from. So whether you are married or you are engaged or you are still young, looking to get married, or you have been married for 50 years, it doesn't matter. I have seen people who got divorced after 30 years of marriage. The woman said, I can't take it anymore. So the length of marriage immaterial. Renochi is here. Welcome, Renochi. Good to have you here. So after many years of marriage, the woman decided that I can't take it anymore. So it doesn't matter the length of marriage. If the marriage is going to break, it will break. And that is very, very serious. So I was listening to Judge Judy. Judge Judy is a very popular judge in the US. He does all this conflict resolution in a court. So he does this court. Many of us would know Judge Judy. So Judge Judy was sharing her story. Of course, she's very old now. I think she's in her 70s now. She was sharing her story, and she said that she got married. After 12 years, she divorced the husband and went away. Then after about a year of trying to settle with someone else, she discovered that all men are the same. It's just a matter of understanding, but all men almost have the same behavior. She came back to the husband and they remarried. And after remarrying, they lived for another 50 years. Now she is 50 years in marriage. And when they were asking her that, what is that one thing that kept you in marriage? Do you know what he said? He said, for marriage to succeed, you must be hard in hearing. What does it mean? It means that there are some things you will hear your partner say, you ignore it as if you didn't hear it. But if you think you're going to be responding to every single thing, the marriage will not work. And I am a practical example of what she said. Because in the beginning part of our marriage, about 6 months to 1 year after we got married, I was responding to every quarrel. And the thing is, my wife will talk, say a lot of things, and I will just say one sentence. But that one sentence will trigger another round of 100 words, another round of talk. So I discovered that the day I don't say anything, the conflict ends. So if she's talking and I just remain silent, as if I didn't hear what she was saying. After some time, she will stop. And the conflict will end. It was Bishop Oyedepo that said something that touched me. He said, marriage is like a boxing ring. If two people goes into the boxing ring, it takes one person, it takes the two of them for a match to actually hold. If one of them says, I don't want to fight today, do you know that there will be no wrestling? If one of them just walks out, do you know there will be no wrestling? Or there will be no boxing? The match is cancelled. So two people are in the ring about to fight, and one of them says, I'm not doing this anymore, and walks out. Do you know, or refuses to attack? After some time, the referee will call off the match and say, okay, let's end this match. Why? Because one person is not fighting. The same way in a house, if one person decides that is not going to respond, when triggers happen or when conflicts about to start, then there will be no conflict. I can tell you the facts. There will be no conflict. Conflict will be dissolved if one person doesn't respond. So it takes two people to be involved for conflict to actually take place. So I want to welcome Enobong Okon joining us from Abuja, and Dr. Eyo is also joining us. Okay, she didn't say where she's joining us from, but Dr. Eyo is here too. Thank you so much for joining us. As I said before, copy the link, share with your friends. This is a very important topic, and hopefully we'll finish it today. And next month we'll do something totally different. So what is conflict? Let's start from that. The definition of conflict. Conflict is a simple disagreement between two or more people because of differences in opinions, expectations, and needs. So conflict is basically disagreement between two or more people. You can't disagree with yourself. There is nothing like self-conflict. It has to be two people or more. There can be group conflict when you are working in an office and there is a major disagreement that leads to a major conflict in the office that actually leads to the point where people don't talk to themselves, you know. So conflict is basically disagreement. And why are there disagreements? It's because opinions vary. What I believe may be different from what other people believe. And that is the reason why there is conflict, because opinions vary. And sometimes our values are different. Some people believe that they can take bribe and nothing will happen. They can still go to church. While others believe that if I take bribe, I've sinned against God, you know, and it will affect me. So values vary, opinions vary, and if your opinion doesn't tally with the opinion of someone else, it can lead to conflict. So why do couples fight? Why would somebody who fell in love with a man or who fell in love with a woman all of a sudden decide that I think this thing is not working anymore, or they start fighting? You start fighting somebody you love. I was discussing with a few friends yesterday when I went for the training of those with disability. And I was discussing with them and I said that the way marriages degenerate to the point where one of the spouse will want to harm the other is mind-blowing. You know, somebody you fell in love with, agree to spend the rest of your life with, and there is a little misunderstanding, you're already calling the police. There is a little misunderstanding, you're already seeking to harm the person. So how did that love degenerate to the point where you are looking for a way to harm somebody? It's simply mind-blowing. There are a few things that can cause conflict in marriage. Number one is miscommunication or poor communication. So when you are trying to say something and your partner or your spouse doesn't understand what you're saying, it can lead to conflict. You know, we are from different family backgrounds. Like in my family, everything is joke. You know, I can insult you and it's a joke. I can say, look at your big head, stupid boy. But it's a joke. But you know that there are some families you dare not say that. It's just like the cultural shock I had when I moved over to the UK. You know, one of my colleagues were just talking and laughing, and he said, "Oh, Emmanuel, don't be silly." And I felt offended because in Nigeria, when you tell somebody, "Don't be silly," you are insulting the person. But unfortunately, in the UK, don't be silly, don't be stupid. It's not an insult. It's an advice, you know. And I didn't see it as an advice. I saw it as an insult. So when my friend said, Emmanuel, don't be silly, I actually became quiet. I didn't say anything again. And I just walked out. Of course, he will be wondering why the change in mood. Because to him, don't be silly, it's not an insult. But from the Nigerian background where I'm coming from, don't be silly. It's a big insult, you know. So imagine I marry somebody who is born and bred here, and we are just arguing, and he said, oh, don't be silly. That is going to lead to serious conflict. It's going to lead to serious conflict. Why? Because of poor communication. Because I don't understand what he's trying to pass across. Because for communication to be complete, both the person that is saying the word and the person listening must be on the same frequency. If you're not on the same frequency, communication will not be effective. So communication is very important. It's always good you explain yourself. Always be patient enough to explain yourself. Many times in homes, the husband and wife are not patient enough to explain themselves, to say, okay, look at what I was trying to say. Be patient enough to explain everything to your wife or to your husband so that they will understand. There have been cases where a lot of times people actually get a lot of misunderstanding, you know, because of poor communication. Simple thing that would have been resolved, you know, but it's not resolved. And this is the reason why a lot of marriages are crashing. The second point is expectations that are not met. You know, you got into this marriage because you thought that the man had money. Or maybe the man wasn't open, or the man assured you that things were going to be better. And you have been in the marriage 1 year, 2 years, things were not getting better. All of a sudden, conflict will start, especially financial conflict, you know, when there's no improvement in the finances, it can lead to conflict. And that is the reason why a lot of people are having conflict today, because there is an unmet expectation in the marriage. Another reason why there's conflict in marriage is because of financial stress. Financial stress. In fact, this is one of the most important aspects. A lot of marriages are crashing today because of financial stress. The man is not able to meet up with responsibility, and sometimes the woman is not willing to share responsibility with the man. And that is the source of conflict. A lot of marriages in the UK has broken down because the woman is not willing to share responsibility, financial responsibility, bills with the man. You just say, okay, you are the man, take responsibility. But unfortunately, in a society like the UK, the man cannot shoulder all the responsibility, because in most cases, people are doing menial jobs, minimum wage jobs, you know. So it will take a lot for you to say, okay, I can handle the bills. No, you don't need to work. And a lot of people are not in that financial state. So I've seen cases where the man is struggling to pay bills, yet the woman doesn't want to bring out money. I've seen cases where the woman will wait until the man brings money before buying salt in the house. So you have money, but you cannot buy salt. I heard a story where a man said they took their daughter to the hospital, and they were asking for deposits. I think about 100,000, and the man was running a task-getter to look for that deposit, and the wife said she didn't have the money, because he asked the wife said he didn't have the money, only for the man to go through the woman's phone. I think the woman got a bank alert, and for the man to go through it and saw that the woman had 600,000 naira. Her money, not that somebody borrowed her or somebody gave her personal money. And of course, that was the end of the marriage. The man said he wasn't going to marry again, because if my daughter is dying and Even with that point of death, you could not release your money. Then why should the marriage hold? There's no marriage in the first place. It's so painful how people don't show empathy when it comes to money. I was reading a Facebook post today where a lady was sharing that her mother will always tell the father, I don't have money. Despite the fact that she had a shop where she goes to every day. So the father will be like, if you're not making money in the shop, why not shut it down? So she herself grew up with that mentality of I don't have money. And she said she saw herself telling her own husband that I don't have money. And anytime she does that, she feels the mother is speaking through her. Because the fact remains that you basically take up the behavior and the attitude, of where you grew up. So your children will definitely start exhibiting the attitude and the things they saw you and your husband or you and your wife do. They will definitely take that up and begin to behave like that. And that is very, very dangerous. So if there is always conflict in the house because of different reasons, money, misunderstanding, miscommunication, no matter what it is, your children will begin to exhibit those traits. In fact, there was a research that was done, and it was said that children that grow up in an environment of toxicity and conflict grow up to become stubborn and angry children. I have been to houses where the children are very stubborn. When I mean very stubborn. In fact, there was a family that came to my house one time. Just one son, one boy. Immediately the boy entered the house, it started scattering everywhere. So of course, you can't try that in my house now. You can't try that in my house. By the time I gave him stern warning and I disciplined him once, he behaved himself until they left. So, but in most cases, the husband and the wife just allow the kid to behave how he wants to behave. And that behavior is a reflection of what is happening in the home. Because when there's conflict in the home and the husband and wife are always exchanging words, there is tension and there is stress in the mind of that boy. And that boy will begin to develop some certain level of resistance to order. Because in the first place, there's no order in the family. So to start developing resistance to order, which will lead to stubbornness. If your child is stubborn, ask yourself, how did I contribute to this child being stubborn? No child was born stubborn. Every child was innocent. So how did they become stubborn? This is a very important question to ask yourself. Sometimes one of the things that could cause conflict is family interference. Family interference from the father or the father-in-law, the mother-in-law, the sister and brother-in-laws, Everybody has a say in the family. If you as a man cannot stand and determine what happens in your family, there will be conflict. Because the mother-in-law wants something. And of course, most mother-in-laws and most daughter-in-laws don't go on together. I don't know why it's like that, but there's always conflict. So it's the responsibility of the man to create boundaries and ensure everybody respects that boundary. The fifth and the final reason why there's conflict in the home is stress. When the man is stressed out at work and comes back home, and the first thing that he meets in the house is nagging. It is a trigger for the man. Or the woman comes back after a very busy day, and the first thing she meets at home is nagging from the husband. It's a trigger. Especially if there was serious stress in the office. Many people transfer the stress to the home. A lot of people don't know how to manage the stress. So they move it to the home, and because they cannot take it out on anybody else, they take it out on their family. So for no reason, you are angry with your children. For no reason, you're angry with your husband. And your husband will be surprised. What is wrong with you? What is the problem? You say nothing, but you know that there is something. That's because you have picked stress from the streets, from the workplace, and you have transferred it into your home. And that is a very dangerous thing to do. Very dangerous. There are 5 stages of conflict. 5 stages. And I'm going to be explaining each of them. In the next few minutes, we'll be up. So don't worry. We're not going to exceed our time. The first stage is misunderstanding. There is no conflict that occurs without misunderstanding. As far as there's a quarrel, it is because of misunderstanding. So if both parties don't understand themselves, of course, conflict will result. The second stage is frustration from constant misunderstanding or constant nagging. Or even it could even be that you are trying to correct your husband or your wife. Every time you're trying to correct your husband on a particular thing. Let's say the man it's not an orderly person. So, you know, orderliness is not part of his nature. So when he comes back from work, his shoe will be on one side, his boxers will be on the bed, his tie will be in the sitting room. There are some men like that. And you have always been complaining that please put your things together. That could actually lead to frustration, which is the second stage. The third stage is argument. Misunderstanding, frustration. The third stage is argument. And if it is not stopped at the point of argument, it goes on to personal attack. It can be verbal attack. It can be physical attack. But there's a personal attack. There was a lady that sent me a message 2-3 years ago, because I made a post on Facebook saying that emotional abuse and verbal abuse is more painful than physical abuse. And the lady sent me a message to say that the husband abuses her verbally, and it's so painful to her that she wishes it was a physical abuse. At least physical abuse is once and the pain will stop. But verbal abuse lasts forever. Do you know that there are some things that somebody told you when you were young, you still remember it today? Anytime you see the person, you remember what the person said about you. I also remember what somebody said about me, although not with anger, but anytime I see the person, I remember that this person told us that I am my friend when we just finished secondary school and we just finished with writing JAMB. And this person said that would two people go and study? Look at how you are walking around like aimless children. And what did we do? We were about going for evangelism. We just finished secondary school. I and my friend said, okay, let's use the time to be evangelizing. And this woman who was a leader in church told us that, why are you people gallivanting and wasting your life? Go and find something to read. Till today, I still remember it. So that word that you are about to tell your wife or your husband, think about it. For life, they will not forget it. Words are like egg. Immediately falls on the ground and is spoken or broken, you know, the egg actually spills on the ground. It is difficult to pack it back into the yolk, into the eggshell, you know. You cannot pack the yolk, you cannot pack the egg white back into the shell. It's not possible. So once it falls on the ground and it scatters, that is it. That is how words are. So once the word has been spoken, it's difficult for you to reverse it. Even if you say, I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't actually reverse those words. All it does is that it puts the person at a better pedestal to actually forgive you. To say, okay, no problem. I will remember it, but I will not feel offended by it. So most times, words cannot be taken back. And this is why it's very important that before you say something, think about it. What is the impact it's going to have on the person you are saying it to? Or before you type a message, I was very gifted in this, you know. If I compose it, if you offend me and I compose a message and send to you, my brother, you will not sleep for 2 days. Because the way I'm going to construct the English, I'm not the talking type, you know. I'm always very quiet. But by the time I construct the English, oh my God. I remember somebody I used to date in those days, and we had a serious quarrel. You know, I composed the message and sent to her. The sister had to tell me that, how can you send this kind of message to a human being? How can you send this kind of message to a human being? And when I was sending that message, I was sending it from the point of pain. So it was when I started learning stress management and I started teaching stress management that I understood that don't take a decision, don't write anything, don't send any message when you are not mentally and emotionally stable. If you are not mentally stable or you are not emotionally stable, don't send any message to anybody. Wait until you are mentally stable and you are emotionally balanced before you send that message. At that point, you'll be careful what you write. But that point where you are boiling and you are typing the message, please don't send it. You can type the message, but don't click on send. Just allow it to be on your phone and in the draft, you know, leave it in draft. Don't send it. Because once you click on send and the message goes, you know, you have caused an irreversible damage to that person that you're sending the message to. So since that time that lady told me that, how can you send this message to a human being? I stopped sending that kind of message. Sometimes I just type the whole message after typing the whole paragraph, 4 paragraphs. I delete everything and ignore. You know, after some time, I'll become calm. And probably the person will come in to say, Iman, I'm so sorry. Look at what happened. Look at what happened. I didn't just abandon you. This is the reason. You see, communication. But what if I've sent a very terrible message to the person? The person would feel offended, and that problem will degenerate into something else. This is very important. So let's move on. There are a lot of things that happen in marriages that makes conflict to escalate. You know, one of them is criticism. If you're always criticizing your spouse for whatever reason, it is very important, you know, you understand your spouse. Let me put it that way. If you're criticizing him continuously over a particular aspect of his life, know that that is his weakness. Find a way to help him adjust to that. If he cannot adjust, then take it like that as part of the cross of marriage. But if you are always criticizing somebody, it gets to a point the person starts resisting your criticism and start responding to your criticism, and that can lead to conflicts. Then sometimes you create a wall. I heard a story about a man that for 6 months he didn't speak to his wife. They had a conflict, and for 6 months they were lying on the same bed. They didn't speak to each other. I used to do that before. I've done 3 days, no talking. But I discovered that within those 3 days, I lost a lot of weight because I was not myself. There was no peace in the house. I started developing all manner of sickness like headache, body pain, weakness. I knew that this is not normal. Until I resolved the issue, then there was a kind of peace that came upon me. It's just, you cannot explain it. You know, that kind of peace that comes upon you when there is joy in your marriage and everybody's happy. There's a level of peace that comes with it. Peace of mind. So it was after I discovered that I told myself that no matter the quarrel, I will not allow it to last to the next day. And that is why the Bible says that don't allow your anger, don't allow the sun to set over your anger, you know. So don't allow your anger to go over the night till the morning. until the sun sets. It means that once somebody offends you, tell the person straight up and resolve it. And since I've been doing that, it has really helped. Honestly, it has really helped. So there's a problem, I pick up a call, yes. Somebody said, Frankie Do, the king of malice. Well, me, I was semi-king of malice. I was just a prince of malice, And the truth is that you are the one suffering. Honestly, you are the one suffering. If you keep malice, you are the one suffering. And that is where the problem is with a lot of us. So let's move on. I'm going to share practical ways to resolve conflict, 5 practical ways to resolve conflict. This is very important. The first one is for you to pause before reacting. Most times it's your reaction that prompts the conflict. If somebody says something to you and that thing they said to you, take it as an insult and you don't really react, you just ignore the person, there will be no conflict. If somebody says, don't be silly, you are stupid, and you don't respond to it, you totally ignore it, of course, there will be no conflict. But it is when you start responding to say, you two, you are stupid, you are a foolish man, shameless man, idiot, look at your mates are making millions, and you are here, you can't even feed your family. You see, the words you are pouring on that man, the man will not react. When the man reacts, there will be conflict. So, either the man or the woman, anytime conflict is brewing in your family or in your home, please pause before reacting. That 5 minutes pause can save your marriage. Just pausing before saying something can save your marriage. Never respond when you are angry. I have learned this the hard way. If I am very angry, I can do and undo. Maybe because of the quiet nature. I know quiet people are very hot-tempered, And when I was growing up, it was like that. I will not say anything. My younger brother will be vibrating. He was a stubborn one. Always, everybody was scared of him. I was a quiet one. So one day, I became very angry. This guy could not believe it. I lifted him up and used his head to hit the ground. And when he hit the ground, he passed out. It was neighbors that started hitting him, pouring water, and they revived him. Of course, when my parents came, they beat the hell out of me that day. But since that day, I knew the power of anger. Anger will give you a certain level of strength that will make you do something that you'll be wondering, how did I do this? That is what anger does. So never react when you are angry. Never react to anything your spouse is doing when you are angry. So when the emotions begin to rise, your intelligence reduces. Your sense of judgment reduces. Once your emotion goes up, your intelligence reduces. Have you not noticed that there are some women, high-level women, you see the man they are dating, you are wondering, how did this woman start dating this man? Because on a normal day, a very intelligent woman like that cannot date that man. The simple reason is this: because her emotions, which is love now, has risen so high, her intelligence had no choice but to decrease. And this is very important. So anytime your emotion goes up, your intelligence goes down. Take that 20 minutes walk out of the environment, take fresh air. By the time you're coming back, your stress, your anger, everything must have dissipated. The second step is to attack the issue, not the person. Attack the problem, not the person. When you're having a misunderstanding with somebody, don't insult the person. Don't insult. Don't let it not be a personal attack. Let it be the discussion be on the issue, not the person. Immediately you transfer from the issue to the person, conflict will arise. Immediately you do that, conflict will arise. So learn to attack the issue. There is something I learned from P2B. You may not like him. You may not like his person. You may not like him for whatever reason, maybe for politics, for tribe, whatever it is. But there's something I learned about him. If you attack him, he doesn't attack you back. You understand? Even when the journalists try to prompt him to attack the person back, he doesn't still attack the person. He attacks issues, situations of the country. And that thing is very striking. The day you stop attacking personalities and you start attacking problems, issues, that is the day conflict would reduce drastically around you. So because why would there be conflict? You are not attacking anybody, you're attacking the issue. You know, so instead of saying that you have a problem, say we have a problem. When you say something like we have a problem, you know, there's a sense of belonging. It reduces the impact he has on the person. You understand? If your wife is having an issue every time, your husband is having an issue every time, don't tell your wife or your husband you have a problem. Tell your wife or your husband, I think we have a problem we need to resolve. When you say that, it drops the tendency for conflict to occur. Then the third step is to listen to understand. I wish somebody is typing everything I'm saying, most of the points I'm making on the comment. It will go a long way for people that are just joining. So if you are free, your hands are free, go to the comments on YouTube and type some certain words so that when people join us, they see those words and it's easy for them to understand. If somebody is doing that for me, I'll be very grateful. So the third step is listen to understand. Before you reply, make sure you understand what the person is saying. Most times we actually listen to respond, not listen to understand. Anytime there's an argument, you are not listening to the person to understand. Even when the person tells you that, let me speak, allow me to talk. In most cases, you are not listening to understand, you are listening to attack. And if you are the kind of person that listens to attack, there will always be conflicts. The fourth step is for you to accept responsibility. If something goes wrong and it is your fault that the thing went wrong, accept responsibility. Say, I'm sorry for this that happened. I'm sorry this happened. It's actually my fault. Once you say that, it quenches every form of conflict. Once you accept responsibility, it quenches every form of conflict. I just remember that Frank Edoho is not Sam Edoho. Somebody says it's Sam Edoho. It's not Sam Edoho. It's Frank Edoho. But your point is not Edoho. Because I was confused. Sam Edoho. No, it's not Sam, it's Frank. So accept responsibility. Once you say, it's my fault that this happened, and I'm sorry for it, everybody goes quiet. Try that, honestly. If there's conflict everywhere, and the reason why there's conflict is because you did something, immediately you say, I accept responsibility, everywhere goes quiet. People just keep quiet. So that is the easiest way to douse any conflict. Then number 5, agree on solution. Let your discussion be solution-based, not always problem-focused, but solution-focused. You are always looking for a way out. So if there's a serious quarrel in the house, your wife is vibrating or your husband is vibrating, the next thing you should say is that, okay, how do we solve this problem? What do we do? In most cases, the people relax and they start thinking about solution. Because it sounds stupid for you to be talking about solution and the person keeps stressing the problem. The person will start sounding stupid, and nobody wants to do that. So immediately you say, okay, what is solution? The next step is, okay, let's do it. I think this is the thing we can do. This is what we can do, and it will bring about the solution. So all discussions should be solution-based. All discussion. There is this conflict model I want to explain, and we'll end the discussion there. So I want to put up the picture. Let me put up the picture. Let me remove this. Yes, this is it. It's called Eisenhower's matrix. Eisenhower. Let me type this. Let me spell Eisenhower for people who may not know the spelling. So just hold on. Let me put it in the comments. Eisenhower matrix. This is very important. I did a training for all executive assistants of UBA. You know, it was during that time where UBA had their bidding got burnt, and many of their staff, they lost many of their staff, you know. It was around that time that I did that talk. And I explained, of course, their topic was stress management and conflict management. And I this matrix to them, and it was very interesting. You know, it helped them a lot. So if you look at the first, your left-hand side, you will see the box that is colored red. On one side is important, then on the upper side is urgent. So this box indicates something that needs to be resolved immediately. It needs to be resolved immediately. It's strengthening the well-being of the marriage and needs to be resolved immediately, not postponed. It's not every situation you walk away. There are some situations that you need to resolve what is causing that stress immediately. So let's say, for instance, there is an issue. There is something your husband is doing, and it is offending you badly. You have tried to endure, but you cannot endure it. It is important and it is urgent, so you need to do it now. Don't wait till tomorrow to resolve the situation. You need to resolve it at this moment, as in immediately, or else the marriage will be jeopardized. The reason why a lot of marriages have crashed is because the woman or the man was enduring a particular urgent and important situation that should have been resolved immediately. But he kept enduring it, and it gets to a point where the woman cannot endure it anymore. The marriage collapses. Let me give you a few examples of the things that are urgent and important. The first one is physical abuse. If your husband or your wife is abusing you physically, it is very urgent, it's very important. Both of you need to sit down and discuss it immediately and ensure it doesn't repeat itself. But a situation where you are beaten and you are even telling people that, I like the way my husband is handling me because I'm a very stubborn woman being, you are in trouble. The next time we hear about you, it could be that you have gone to the great beyond. Physical abuse, infidelity, matters of cheating should be resolved, treated as important and urgent. Major financial crisis, children's emergency, maybe time of sickness for your children, serious health issues. You know, these require immediate attention. So your child or your wife will not be sick, and that is when you want to go out with your friends to go and drink. That is very irresponsible. If there is something, if there's an emergency in your home, it should be treated as a red. You know, it's important and urgent. Let's move over to the second one. Second one is the blue. It is important, but not too urgent. This is exactly where strong marriages are built. Because what is causing the problem may not be urgent, it's not a life-threatening situation, but in the long run, it can actually cause problem. So although it is important, but it is not urgent. So these are things like regular communication. Regular communication is very important, but of course, if you don't communicate regularly, maybe long distance marriage that you talk maybe once in a day or twice a day, it's not threatening the life of the marriage per se. It's not an immediate threat. Then, if you have not gone out, maybe you have not taken your wife everywhere. Some women say, since I married my husband, we have not gone on a date. It's important too, but it's not life-threatening. It's not urgent. So these are the things that build your marriage, because it is not urgent, but it's very important. Then praying together. Praying together is important. But of course, there are a lot of marriages that are doing well and they don't pray. Unbelievers, but they don't pray. So I'm not saying that prayer is not important. Of course, it's very important, as is described in the blue box, but it's not an emergency, So if you are doing it, your marriage will not last long, because you are doing something that, although it's not seen as urgent, but it is very important. So that is why I said in the beginning of this point that this is where strong marriages are built. When there's regular communication, date nights, you pray together, you plan your finances together. Most marriages will collapse if they don't plan very well. I've seen cases where the wife is very frugal, buy things on impulse, but the husband is the saving type, and the two of them are not working together. It's definitely going to cause issues. So the day you start planning together, doing everything together, that is the day that there will be peace in the home. In my home, we plan everything together. Everybody knows what it is supposed to do, and we do it judiciously, and we save together. There's nothing like, my wife say he has his own savings, husband say he has his own savings. If I'm saving monies for the family, if my wife is saving monies for the family. So there's nothing like personal account, or my own personal joint account, personal account. We don't have any joint account. We don't have any joint anything. Everything we are doing is together. If there's money in my account, it's for all of us. If there's money in her account, it's for all of us. She goes out of the way to buy things. Many people don't know that some of the clothes I wear, it's my wife that styles me, that tells me, okay, match this and this, because she's very good when it comes to fashion. And when it comes to fashion, I am the opposite. In fact, when she got married to me, my shirt used to be yellow, my trouser would be purple. I had purple trousers, I had blue trousers, I had trousers that colors that you'll be wondering, is this guy from the forest? Because fashion was zero for me. People used to use it to yab me in those days. Why are you dressing like a local man? Because I can't, even till now, if you leave me, I might not be able to dress myself well, color combination to match, So even if she travels, I have to call her, do a video call. Can I wear this and this? Can I wear this and this? Because that is her strength, and I'm tapping into her strength. So that is exactly why when you do what is in the blue box, your marriage is built. That is when you learn to love each other's love language. These are the things you do over time. It's not like the emergency urgent one that you have to treat it immediately. This one is for a long time, and it to sustain the marriage. So those are the things that happen. So those are the things that happen that you handle, and the marriage will last long. Then let's go over to the green box. So it is urgent, but it's not very important. It's urgent, but it's not very important. These issues feel urgent, but do not deserve major arguments. You know, it's not worth discussing about, although they are urgent. Let me give you a typical example of the one that many of us as men usually face. You forgot to buy bread. Why didn't you buy bread when you were coming? Why didn't you buy water when you were coming? You know, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why did you leave the light on? Why did you forget to lock the door? Why did you come late to this date? Those are the things that will say that it is urgent, but it's not really important. It's not something that you now start arguing over. Many people, those are the things they spend their time arguing over. Why didn't you lock the door? Why didn't you switch off the light? Who switched on the lights? You don't know I'm paying bills? Those are the things a lot of us argue about. Why did you press the paste at the middle? Why didn't you press it from the end? Look at the paste now. The paste is now divided into two, and it's not causing problem for me. Why didn't you put why didn't you keep my bag where you collected it from? You know, it appears urgent because it's something that deserves to be treated now, but it's not important. It's not worth your energy. It's not worth your energy. Such argument is not worth your energy, honestly. So one major question you should ask yourself is, will this matter? If this is resolved, will it change anything? So if you not ask, why didn't you buy bread? And your husband says, okay, I forgot, I will go back to buy it. Is that not the end of the story? But do you know some people will drag it? That is how you always forget to buy bread. You this man, you are always forgetful. And you know I love this thing. You have wasted my time now. Now I cannot eat now. You know, you stretch it. And at the end of the day, the man gets angry and conflict will result. So if it's not important, but it's urgent, if it's not if it's urgent but it's not important, then disregard it. Just communicate it, and that is it. Then the yellow quadrant, which is the last one, is it is neither urgent nor important. It is neither urgent nor important. Guess what? Let me give you a typical example of this. Husband and wife arguing over social media posts and social media comments or what somebody is saying on social media. Do you see how terrible it is for a husband and wife to be arguing over genge that says that stupid men are the ones getting married, but he got married last Saturday. And there are men that are following him, going to his university, according to how they used to call it, and learning from that man. Some people left their wives, their girlfriends, because that man said they should not give their girlfriend money. Some relationships scattered because the man was following somebody that told them not to get married or treat women well. Guess what? That same man got married. I remember one of the social media influencers in those days that fell pregnant. That's how it was. She said she fell pregnant. She didn't get pregnant. She fell and she got pregnant, you know. That's the first time I will hear that word. So, and this lady will be telling young ladies not to treat men well. That all men are trash, all men are this, all men are scum, all men are all manner of things. Guess what? She took in, only for her to explain that she fell pregnant. So that means she has been dating somebody all this while, yet discouraging other people. It is only a foolish person that will be arguing over a social media post or a social media influencer. And a lot of us do that. A lot of us try to win an argument. Is it very important for you to win that argument? So you are arguing with your wife, you're arguing with your husband. After some time, one person will not get angry and walk out. An unnecessary thing. So it means that the argument is not important and it's not urgent. Some people also bring up mistake from 10 years ago. Something that happened 10 years ago. You are bringing it up because there's an argument. That was how you said this in the year 2019. You said this, and I remember. Now you are repeating it again. Is it important? Is it urgent? It's a useless argument. And do you know, most of these arguments, you spend so much energy and you gain nothing. It drains you emotionally and psychologically. After the argument, you have gained nothing and you have lost everything. So there are some arguments in marriage that you shouldn't even go into. If the argument has nothing to do with your immediate marriage, it's not a threat to your marriage, and it's not very important, please don't go into it. Even when somebody's sharing with you, there are a lot of things that even, okay, let me complete this sentence. Even if somebody's sharing them with you, just ignore it. There are a lot of things that my wife will tell me, I don't believe in those things, and I don't think those things are right. It's social media posts, but it doesn't lead to any arguments. If I say something and I say that it wants to lead to an argument, I just keep quiet because, of course, it's not worth my time discussing those things, It's not going to help the marriage in any way. So we'll be rounding up in the next few minutes, and I would ask us to share questions. If you have any question, please do well to ask. Very important. You have questions. So don't allow any disagreement to escalate. Once you see that a disagreement is becoming an argument and is going to trigger into conflict, move out of that fight. See yourself as if you're in a boxing ring and carry your kaya and leave the ring. Once you do that, the conflict disappears. You don't need to leave the environment. You can keep quiet. Once you keep quiet, the argument de-escalates and fizzles out. This is very, very important. So, and also learn to read the mood of your spouse. Learn to read the mood of your spouse. If you see that you want to discuss something that could trigger your spouse, then don't discuss it at that time. Ignore it. Let's say, for example, you want to ask money and business is not going well for your husband, but you want to ask money to make your hair. You know that there's a way you are going to ask for money. It will trigger something in him. You understand? Why not allow time to pass? Or say it in such a way that it will not trigger anything. Or look at the mood. If it's in a happy mood, then you can ask. But if it's in a sad mood, then don't ask. Some people don't consider the mood of others. They just say things irrespective of their mood. You don't care whether your husband is happy or your wife is happy. You just say it like that. If he likes, he should be happy. If he likes, he should not be happy. That's his business. It's not supposed to be like that. In conclusion, there is no perfect person in marriage. There is no perfect marriage. There is no perfect ideal marriage. And there is no marriage that is not experiencing trauma. When I mean trauma, not physical trauma now, I'm talking about psychological trauma sometimes, conflict, is bound to occur. But it's how both of you manage it. That is what matters. So nobody can come out and say there is no conflict in their marriage. Nobody. But how you manage the conflict, that is what leads to prolonged marriage. And don't be that person that anytime you are having argument, you tell your husband, you tell your wife, I will soon leave this marriage. I will soon divorce you. I will soon pack out of this house. Any little thing, you say, you threaten with divorce. That is the worst thing you can do as a human being. Threatening your spouse with divorce every single time. Please don't do that. If you are fond of doing it, don't do that. So the goal of the relationship or marriage is understanding. The goal of marriage is understanding, not for you to win an argument. After winning the argument, what else? So you're happy, you have won the argument. Does that help your marriage in any way? No, it doesn't help your marriage in any way. So in conclusion, a peaceful home is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself and your children. A peaceful home is one of the greatest gifts you can give to yourself and your home, your children, If there is peace in your home, it is a powerful gift to yourself as an individual and to your children. Remember I said it, that children who grow up in toxic homes become criminals, become problems to the society. So if your home is peaceful, it's a gift you are giving to your children, and they will never forget it. And they also translate it to their own home. And that is how powerful societies, good societies are built. So thank you very much. I've come to the end of today's class. If you have any question, I will take questions for maybe in the next 2-3 minutes, and we'll call it a night. If you have any question, please just drop it in the comments. Thank you very much, Stephen, for dropping nuggets. I like this. So anytime we're having these webinars, drop nuggets so that once somebody is coming, those are the first thing the person will see. And we'll know that, okay, these are the things that have been said. So when they are watching with expectation, and it also helps people to understand much better. Some people understand better reading than actually hearing you speak. So when they read it, they understand better. That's why if you are watching a movie, there's some people that if there's no subtitle in the movie, they will not enjoy it, because they prefer reading than actually hearing. So dropping powerful points while I'm speaking helps everybody to flow. Thank you very much, Stephen. I really appreciate this. So you have any question, please drop it before we call it a day. While you are typing your questions, a few announcements. So tomorrow, the registration for the 5th batch of the Basic Stress Management Certificate course will start. Well, I'm going to drop information about this on our WhatsApp community. So if you are hearing me and you are not on the WhatsApp community, please reach out to me, send me a message, or drop a comment in this video, and I'm going to send you the link to join. So I'm going to drop it in the community, and you want to join the next batch. Of course, the testimonies are massive. Maybe before the course actually starts in September. It's going to start sometime in September, towards the end of September, I presume, towards the end of September. So by the time the course is starting, of course, I'm going to share testimonies from people who have gone through the course and how it helped them. Then on Thursday, by 8 p.m., we're going to have a pre-registration meeting for people who want to join the Executive Stress to Profit community. That's the community for people who want to become stress management coaches, and people who want to learn executive stress management, people who want to also do business and they are finding it difficult starting up a business. We're going to incorporate everything. I'm going to get speakers globally from every part of the world to come teach them. And it's a yearly subscription. So for a year, you're going to pay 250,000 naira, and it covers the subscription for the year. So if after 1 year, you are satisfied and you are like, I don't want to join this community anymore, fine. But after 1 year, you want to join the community again, of course, you pay the subscription and we'll continue from there. Of course, after 1 year, you would have gotten to meet a lot of people that will help your business grow. So you want to operate at a global level, you want to know what is happening in other parts of the world, join this community. I can tell you for a fact that it's going to help you. In 1 year, your business, your life, every part of your being is going to be transformed. I can vouch for you for that, and I can assure you that you are going to get more value than the money you are paying. Just like the basic stress management certificate course, people are asking me, why am I charging 25,000 for a course that is worth almost 75,000? Why am I charging just 25,000? And I said, well, it's because I want to help as many people as possible. The more people learn about stress, the better they become. So it's not really about the money. If I convert 25,000 naira to pounds, it's not up to 15 pounds. What am I going to do with 15 pounds? You know? So even if it's 10 people that register, 20 people that register, what am I still going to do with the money? I can't pay my bills. So I'm doing it because I want a lot of people to learn about stress. So let's go over to questions. Okay. The first one is from Stephen. Sir, please let me drop this question here. How do you explain a situation whereby couples of about 45 years together get divorced? You know, a couple has lived together for 45 years, and after 45 years, they say they cannot live anymore. The thing is this: a lot of people are enduring their marriage, they're not really enjoying it. So marriage is an endurance. And how long can you endure? At some point, it gets to this point, and you're like, I can't take it anymore. There are some ladies that have endured emotional and mental torture for 30 going to 40 years of marriage. Do you think that they will not wake up one day to say, I think I've had it here, you know, I can't take this anymore? So most times when you see families of people who are marriages who are about 45 years and all of a sudden they say they are not doing anymore, they divorce, it's basically because one person has been enduring abuse and they can't take it anymore. They didn't just discover that they can't live together the day they divorced. It's accumulated. It has accumulated over a long period of time. And it got to a point where they said, I don't think this can progress. I want to back out. And you know, when they think of backing out, there's a peace that comes with it. Peace of mind that I'm not around this person. It's serious, honestly. So let me go to the next question. How do you manage, Hassan is asking, how do you manage a situation where the love in the marriage is one-sided? You know, this is part of the things that happen when you jump into marriage. When you jump into marriage, these are part of the things that happen. You know, when you see signs in marriage or during dating, but you didn't pay attention to those signs. And now, according to somebody, those signs are turning to wonders. So no love dies. It's very difficult for love to die when you're already married. It does happen, but it's very difficult. In cases where the love is one-sided, it has always been one-sided. But because you are so much in love with this person, you are ignoring a lot of things. So if you're already in a marriage situation and the love is one-sided, if it is from you, please start developing love. Love can be developed, you know. Love is not love at first sight. That excitement, that butterfly, no. You can grow to love somebody, even if you didn't love them before. Because you can't divorce somebody because you don't love the person. You can do that though, but it sounds pedestrian, because of course you saw the person before you entered into marriage. There are some strong cases for divorce, like infidelity, physical abuse, but you saw all that are not happening, all those things are not happening. Then all of a sudden you say, I don't love this person anymore, I want to leave. That is the reason why a lot of people are divorcing. And when they go out, they discover that there's no love anywhere. That the person you have gotten married to, you have to develop love for the person. So if you're in a situation and the love is one-sided and you are the one that is showing love, the other person is not showing love, have a discussion about it. have a discussion about it, depending on how receptive the person is. You know, of course, it's your husband or it's your wife. You know how to talk about it, but have an honest discussion about it. That I feel I'm the only person showing love in this marriage and it's not reciprocal. What is the problem? If it gets to the point where it's leading to conflict and it's becoming a problem, then you can seek for help. Call a third party. But if it's something both of you can resolve, you can discuss, okay, what are the things that I can do to show you that I love you? Because I've seen cases where the man loves the woman, but he doesn't know how to show it. Some people don't know how to show love, but they really love you. They are not romantic. They don't buy gifts. They don't pet you. They don't do anything, any of those things, but they really love you. And if you ask the man will say, I provide everything for you. But because it's not saying I love you, you think he doesn't love you. So you also need to consider the fact whether this thing you are calling love, is it words of affirmation, words of mouth, or is it that the person is not providing for you? So if it's that the person is not providing for you, that's a different ball game. But if it's that the person is providing but doesn't know how to express love, then it can be learned. You can actually show the person how to express love by telling the person the things he can do to impress you. So let's go to the next question. Of course, if any of these questions you want more discussion on it, drop the question in the community and I will respond to it. So there's another question here. Cheating causes conflict in marriage, but how can it be resolved if the person refuses to own up and repent or apologize? The only ground that the Bible, I'm a Christian, so I use the Bible as an example. The only ground that the Bible says you can divorce is when there's infidelity. So God does not like divorce, but he said if there is infidelity and this person has refused to repent, then you have the right to divorce. So if it has gotten to the point where the person refuses to own up, repent, or apologize, that means this person doesn't value you. This person doesn't love you. That means the marriage is a marriage of convenience, not really of love, you know. This person is marrying you because he feels that he's helping you. So when it gets to that point, there is a problem. There is a problem. And I feel you should take this to a third party. Because if you have tried to resolve this and it's not working, take this matter to the person to somebody that this person respects. It could be the person's pastor, it could be the person's father, it could be the person, but somebody he respects. There is nobody that doesn't respect at least one person. So take it to the person and let all of you be accountable to the person. I think there could be a solution. But if you are fed up and you say, I can't take this anymore, this man is giving me infection every time, I'm treating infection every month, then you have the right to say, I don't want this marriage anymore. I want to walk away. You know, anything that has to do with marriage, it doesn't have only one solution. Marriage doesn't have only one solution. It has multiple solutions. So I'm just giving you my own opinion about how you should go about it. It might not suit you, you know. You might still seek for other opinions, but I'm just giving you my own personal opinion based on my experience and some of the things I've seen in marriage. Okay, so Dorothy is asking, you just explained the matrix. Thanks. Can couples decide what is important and urgent to them? Of course. Of course. You can actually take a picture of this Eisenhower's matrix. I've written the name, so you can Google it, take a picture, download the picture, and write out the things that are important for you guys. It may be urgent, it might be important and urgent for other people, but it's not important and urgent for you, you know? So you have to determine what is important and urgent to you personally. So what I mean is this. For example, somebody, a home that is not a Christian home, you know, and a lot of things, all of them are unbelievers. The husband drinks and smokes and womanizes. The wife also goes to party. There are some things that are not that doesn't warrant immediate and important discussion. For example, if the wife sees the husband carrying a woman, well, no problem. There's believe you me, there are some homes like that. It's not emergency, it's not an urgent thing. They have grown to live with it. So what is urgent and important to a family to one family may not be urgent and important to another family. So you can sit down and decide what happens. Let's go to the next question. What happens if the man is not always available for both of you to have meaningful conversation or agree of conversation of agreement, reasons because he usually comes home late? Well, why is the man coming home late? Is the home too toxic for the man to actually relax? It's also very important because some of the reasons why men actually avoid going home is because there is no peace at home. I'm saying this based on many cases that I've handled. There is no peace at home. Immediately the man is entering the home, is greeted with nagging, is greeted with all forms of toxicity. So the man finds peace outside than in the home. So if the man comes home late and you welcome the man as if nothing happens and make sure there's peace in the home, do you know after some time, the man will be wondering that there's a change, something has happened. Something has actually happened in my home. My home is now at peace. And the man will begin to change gradually. There's something I discovered in marriage. Change in character of one person triggers a change in character of the other person. So let's say, for instance, a man who is misbehaving, he could be misbehaving because his wife is misbehaving. Whatever thing that happens to the wife and makes the wife or the husband, it doesn't have to be wife or husband. Yeah, it can happen to any of them. Whatever happens to one party that makes the person to change will trigger a change in the other person. For instance, if your wife is always nagging, and once your wife starts nagging, you respond with anger, and there's always conflict in the house. If one day you come back home and your wife, instead of nagging, maybe you came back very late, around 12 midnight, instead of your wife nagging, your wife comes, hugs you, and gets a water for you to shower, there is food, you'll be surprised. And you are like, what happened to this woman? She's not shouting. Do you know after some time you're going to change? It's called reverse psychology. You're going to change. So it's not like it's not in all cases though, but sometimes the man is out because there's no peace in the house. Whatever happens and you are not having meaningful discussion, you have to create time to have it. The man will not always be out every time. In the morning, first thing in the morning, you can have a discussion, but make sure that discussion is meaningful. As you said it, that conversation must be meaningful, not quarrel. Because what you're calling meaningful conversation might be quarrel, and the man doesn't even want any quarrel. So I'm saying this because a lot of men have been complaining that there's no peace in their home. A lot of men have been complaining that there's no peace in their home. And for some of them, they are the cause. You understand? I'm not exonerating men. Some of them, they are the reason why there's no peace in the home. But I'm saying that if one person decides to change the response, instead of responding with aggression or conflict, decide to respond in a totally different, in an opposite way, sometimes those conflicts just disappears. Honestly, it's called reverse psychology. So instead of maybe, okay, let me give you a typical example. A man caught the wife cheating on their matrimonial home, and the man just came in, honey, how are you doing? The man was there, the man he was cheating with was there. Honey, how are you doing? Oh, I just came back. I was acting as if nothing happened. He didn't see anything. You know, that woman nearly ran mad because she didn't know what was in the mind of the husband. And when the husband said, go and bring my food, the husband brought the food, he ate. She couldn't sleep throughout the night because she was wondering, what is this man going to? It's not normal. You know, reverse psychology is very powerful. It's not normal for you to behave like this and you are behaving like that. The other person is sensible enough to say, this is not the normal behavior I was expecting. I was expecting quarrel, but this woman is showing me a totally different behavior. Something is wrong. Some of them, they will be afraid, you know. So this thing works like magic. Okay, another question. A man keeps offending you and never apologize. But when you approach him to talk about it, the next thing is malice. Some men are not matured enough to handle conflict. Some men are not matured enough to handle criticism. Let me even call it constructive criticism or correction. A lot of men, because of ego, are not matured enough to handle correction. So if a man is showing such signs, there is a way you approach such a man. Don't approach the man that's with the mind that you want to correct the man, you know, or you want to talk about it in such a way that you put it in such a way that he will start feeling somehow. You know, if you were part of the basic stress management certificate course, when it comes to office politics, I mentioned this very well. So there's a way, because the man sees himself as the head of the home. There's a way you approach him. He will start feeling that you are hurting his ego and he will resist you. And the way he resists, he chooses to resist you could be through attack or keeping malice. So sometimes if a man offends you, look for the best time to talk about it. All times are not the best, especially when he's in a happy mood. It's difficult for a man who is in a happy mood to suddenly change and start keeping malice. Of course, if he's in a happy mood, he just can say, honey, there's something I still want to talk to you about. You know, okay, what is this? Well, you said something and it really offended me. Okay, what is it? What did I say? You said this, you said that. Okay, I'm sorry, you know. And that ends it. But how you say it matters, you know. It's not what you are saying that is a problem, but it's how you are saying it in most cases. In most cases, how you are saying it, that's what the problem is. So if you know that offense is something you can ignore, please ignore it. There are some offenses, there are some offenses that happens. You know that this thing is not worth talking about. You just totally ignore it. Ignore it. So if it's when the offense becomes repeated and deliberate that it's not time for you to talk about it. But if you are the kind of person that is always talking about offense, it's not also very good, you know. Another question: how would you advise a solution when the man shouts at the wife both internally and externally? I think you are talking about shouting at the wife both in the house and outside the house, you know. It's sad to see situations like this. I've witnessed it a number of times when the man treats the woman like trash or treats the woman like she's nothing, she's nobody, talks to her anyhow, and the woman is totally helpless. Maybe the woman doesn't have financial capacity, you know, to live independently. So she's tied to the man, and the man is the sole provider, the breadwinner. In that case, the man starts taking it out on the woman and start talking to the woman anyhow. It's actually a very sad situation. In that case, there are two things you can do. Number one, speak to the man about it. I don't like the way you're talking to me. You keep embarrassing me. And if the man refuses to change, speak to somebody who the man respects about it. Go for counseling. It's only in Africa that people are scared of counseling. Counseling is like a deal breaker for a lot of people. But here, counseling is normal. I can even pick my call a citizen's advice and say, I'm facing so and so in my marriage. What do I do? For free, they're going to tell me the solution on what to do, both legally and morally, you know. But in Africa, we also talk about counseling. It's something a lot of people try to avoid. So, but in a situation like this, you need to speak out. Don't die in silence. Speak out. Talk to the man's people. Talk to somebody you feel the man would respect, you know, and let somebody call the two of you together and resolve it. There are a lot of marriages that have been saved because somebody went out to tell a third party. I know people say always resolve your issues within yourself. Don't allow the third party to hear what you are discussing, but it's not always true. There are some times that both of you have resolved it and it's not working. A third party calls the two of you and you say your mind, this person says it's mine, this person says it's mine, you come to a conclusion, and that has saved a lot of marriages. And the best people to do this are your religious leaders. You know, they have the wisdom, they have the experience to actually resolve issues like this. That's why if you are a religious leader, either an imam, a pastor, or whatever you practice, make sure conflict management is part of the things that you are you are certified about, you are certified on, you know. So you must be certified as a conflict resolution expert. It will help you a great deal. So the last question, when it comes to expression of love, it should be from both ways. A wife can say, I love you to her husband and vice versa. Yes, I love this advice. So it should not just be one person saying, I love you every time, I love you, I love you. It should be both parties, you know. It should come from both parties. So thank you very much. We've gone well above our time. I didn't know we were going to spend, but you know, anything that has to do with marriage, man, woman, takes a lot of time. So the topic for next month, I'm going to unveil it during the week, and then we're going to also talk about something totally different, you know. So thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you. Have a good night.